TED Talks by Ted Schwerzler is brought to you by Paul Bunyan Communications, providing fiber optic fast internet up to 10 gigabytes, TV, voice, IT, and their certified Apple Service Center. They're serving the Bemidji and Grand Rapids area since 1952.
Ted Schwerzler with another TED Talks Twins at TL Schwerz, Twins Daily. It was a fun week for the Twins, and it's crazy how a matter of a handful of days can make such a difference during the Major League Baseball season. The Twins found themselves in the midst of a winning streak last week, went to Chicago and swept them just like they did in that 4-game series back at Target Field, and then had a much-deserved off day. The Twins had played a bunch of days in a row. They had to bring up Caleb Buechley in the middle of that stretch just to get some innings. He had quite an interesting 35 hours or so, going from being with the Saints in St. Paul, flying to Chicago, and being in the Twins bullpen to then not being used, and going home back to St. Paul and pitching as the starting pitcher on Thursday for St. Paul. So collects a major league check in the process, but really bounced around for a guy. He did make his debut last year with the Brewers. I believe he threw 2 1/3 from La Crosse, Wisconsin, if I remember right. So he didn't pitch with the Twins, but kind of a crazy couple of days there for him. And then the Twins come home and look to continue the winning streak against Boston, end up extending it to 12, and then get Cooper Criswell on Sunday, and they just couldn't figure him out. Former Rays pitcher that didn't have good numbers last year, wasn't a big strikeout guy, and still is not a big strikeout guy for the Red Sox. Unfortunately, the Twins just couldn't get anything going with runners in scoring position. They struggled at times with that throughout the year. They had Criswell on the ropes with the bases loaded and nobody out early in the game, and did not push a run across the bases. Ended up going 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position, left 10 on base, and fell 9-2. The bullpen was not good on Sunday. Obviously, that's a problem. However, it was only 2 arms. Cody Funderburk and Jay Jackson both got hit around quite a bit as they came on in relief for Joe Ryan. Both of those guys could be in a tough spot as the Twins get a little bit more healthy. Jorge Alcala is back up with the big league club, but Justin Topa needs a spot as he works his way back towards an eventual Twins debut. And then there's also Josh Staumont, who remains down at AAA. He was signed on a major league contract, had an option left, didn't look great in his buildup, could be an option soon. Another name to watch, former, I believe, Mariners closer, Rays closer, Diego Castillo, was a surprise addition to the Saints roster right before the season began. He hasn't had the greatest command walking a lot of guys, but I believe his ERA is around 1.8, and he's striking a ton of people out. So he could be an arm with former high leverage exposure for Minnesota. The Twins did lose Byron Buxton, unfortunately, this week. It's right knee soreness, which is that same knee that he's had surgically repaired, or had the plica flap removed this offseason. So it's not a great thing. It sounds like they caught it pretty early and think that he just needs 10 days of rest. If it's more than that, I'm not real sure what they do. It seems like they've kind of explored all options with his knee. So it's going to have to be something that responds well to treatment, and then he's back, because the designated hitter route is something that they're not looking at going into again this year. The Twins also did lose Brock Stewart this week. Shoulder tendonitis is what they're calling it. Sounds like he felt a little bit of, pain while warming up against the White Sox. Didn't feel it in the game. His stuff wasn't quite as sharp. So they put him on the 15-day IL, get him a little bit of a rest here, and then hopefully he is back when he is first eligible, as he's been one of the Twins' best relievers both this year and last year while navigating that previous arm injury. The Mariners come to town for 4 this week before Minnesota goes north of the border to Toronto. It will be fun to see both Mitch Garver and Jorge Polanco back at Target Field, obviously in the opposing dugout. Neither is off to a great start this year, but the Twins will look to kick off another winning streak, maybe grab another sausage and replace the one that looked like it probably needed to go. So we will check back in next week.